Allegheny took a forward turn right side.
Get on the heart of the 45th Recon Way. See what the hell they could be testing up there now.
This is the motion picture that astounded us, that challenged us, that dazzled us. The motion picture that reminded us we are not alone. This is the road that took us to the outer limits of a brilliant filmmaker's imagination. The road over 100 million people have taken and will want to take again. The road millions of others will take for the first time. But now the road will take us all even farther. The special edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Director Steven Spielberg has filmed additional scenes designed to expand the total experience of the original motion picture. Now Richard Dreyfuss as Roy Neary will share with audiences all over the world the experience of being inside. When we saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, we wanted more. Now, there is more.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and this means something. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
They belong here more than we.
That's a very good accent.
Thank you.
You've been practicing.
My true foe.
We are dorking out about I'm going to say 1977's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but I think we might have watched the 1980s Close Encounters of the Third Kind or the 1998 version of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We're going to figure it out. It's written and directed by Steven Spielberg. It's got this amazing score by John Williams. We got to mention that. And it stars Richard Dreyfuss, Francois Truffaut, Teri Garr, Carrie Guffey, I think is how you pronounce it. Oh my God, why doesn't Melinda Dillon got cut off on my... Here she is, Melinda Dillon. She gets to keep her top on. What a treat for her.
But she's not wearing a bra, let's be clear. A couple of times I was like, whoopsie.
Yes. We also need to point out that Robert's Blossom makes an appearance in this because I have to point him out every time he's on the show. And Bob Balaban. Yes.
And his French.
And
which is excellent.
It's pretty good. Let's start how we always start. Did you see this in the theater?
My funny thing, I round this time and the age I was, it would be the second time it came out. So it came out in 77. And then a year or two later, he put out another version. If I had seen it, I think I'd remember it. I don't. I think like the first time I saw it, this is how weird I was as a kid. I thought it was disloyal to like it versus Star Wars.
I think that's a thing,
that was
though.
a thing.
Like, it was, you definitely felt like you had to pick a side, I think, and things like, people still do that on the internet.
Yeah, of course.
Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Right. Oppenheimer and Barbie or Mission Impossible. Like, which one are you? And also, I think, Star Wars is definitely like a 3-act story that's definitely for kids.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a story definitely for adults. And it took me the second time I watched it the past week to really get the message. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
We were texting back and forth, and you had a DVD of it. Yeah. And you're like, well, which version do I get? What are you watching? And I said, all I can find is the basic bitch version that's on Amazon. So I don't know which version it is, but it does include Richard Dreyfuss. Well, we'll get to the ending.
Yeah. Does it
Spielberg
include...
has a few versions.
Yes. The one I think you watched had the mothership stuff.
Yes.
Okay. That is the 1980 version. And that is the one... So there was a 77 version, which I don't think I saw it in the theater then. And here's the thing. We picked this movie because we were like, hey, let's do a big summer movie. And so we picked Close Encounters. Now, Close Encounters of the Third Kind actually came out in November 1977. Right. So it feels like a summer movie to me. And I was like, why do I think it's a summer movie? And it's because I didn't see it in 77. I, much like you, saw Star Wars in 77. And everything was about Star Wars for me. So I did not see Close Encounters until the 1980 re-release with the special stuff. And that came out in the summer of 80. So that's why it feels like a summer movie to me.
Yeah, and I can't remember seeing it in movie theaters. I guess I didn't. I guess I saw it on TV first. What about you?
I think I saw it in the theater, but I don't think I don't think child me was like super into it because it is a more grown up movie. I remember thinking the ships were really cool and thinking, oh, this is what it would really be like if we tried to communicate with aliens. But it wasn't like, ooh, and now I'm going to watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind again. Like, it wasn't that kind of movie to me. And I texted you a picture. I was like, little did I know, I actually own the Blu-ray. Now, I don't know if I bought it. Sometimes Drinky Sonia buys things on Amazon and and things show up at my house. And I was like, oh, I love that I thought this for me. It could be my ex bought it, and it's just he left it here, so now it's mine. So I watched the director's cut, which is the one that came out in 89, and it doesn't have the mothership stuff. And
so when does it end?
So it ends when he gets on the ship.
Okay, so you don't see inside the mothership, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. So it includes... it doesn't include the mothership stuff, but it does include another scene that we can talk about in a little bit, if you like. But should we just go through it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're starting in the desert, as we do in Spielberg movies. And the whole thing is, so Francois Truffaut is playing someone named Claude Lacombe. Maybe I'm pronouncing that right. Let's say I am. And I guess he's some sort of UFO expert. And there's a bunch of World War II planes in the middle of the fucking desert. And it turns out all these planes had disappeared in 1945. And now they have reappeared. And they're starting to investigate, like a ship has shown up in the desert at one point. Like all these random things that had disappeared are starting to show up all over the planet. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I had to go through the plot on Wikipedia, to be honest with you, because I was getting lost in things. But yes.
Because when I've watched this, the stuff with the scientist and his interpreter and all that's not the part that I ever clicked with. When I watch this movie, I really only think about Richard Dreyfuss and Melinda Dillon when I think of this movie, and I never think about that stuff. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's a whole thing that's in the movie. Yes, that's all happening. So all of that is happening, but we also, then we cut to small home inside, a rural town in Indiana, and we get this 3-year-old kid named Barry. First of all, Barry is an old man name, so it's weird that
It's very weird when she says Barry, because I think of the show Barry.
Yes.
On Max.
He's just a little kid. And by the way, he's adorable. Everybody drink.
Oh, he's so good in this movie.
He's so good. Spielberg is he's so good with kids, directing kids. And this kid is so cute. So cute. And he wakes up and his toys are moving around on their own, and he's got that fucking creepy monkey with the symbols and the eyes, and I hate that toy. It's always given me the creeps. And he just starts it's really late at night, he's going through the house, and clearly something is in their house. It's going through the refrigerator, it's making a huge mess, but we never see what it is, but we see his reaction to it. And again, that kid, he's so good. because at first he looks like kind of scared, and then he's like kind of delighted. And, you know, what is happening in my head is this alien is like going through their fridge and he's just watching it like, And he like he runs outside, he's chasing something. Again, we're not seeing anything. And Melinda Dillon wakes up and has to chase her kid around outside. All of this is nightmare fuel for me as a single mom, by the way.
I was going to say, I get such anxiety. Like, I'm freaked out for his safety. I can't imagine being a parent and watching this movie. I think because this is before Spielberg became a parent.
Yeah.
So it's like this scene, and then in Jaws with the mother,
yes,
whose son goes out with the, waiting in the ocean, and then he doesn't come back. Like, I was like, as a parent, that must be fucking terrible.
This movie played very different for me this time than it has in. I don't think I've watched it since I've had Calvin, so this played all the storyline played differently for me because, well, it just did.
Yeah. Of course it would.
Yeah.
It should. You're a fucking weirdo if it doesn't. Or just a narcissist. Some parents are.
Or you're just Roy, the Richard Dreyfuss character in this movie. So we'll get
to Roy. I've had to process Roy.
Yeah, so then we get to Roy, and he is married to Teri Garr. They have multiple kids. I forget how many, 3 or 4. 3, I think. And he's some sort of electrician for the city, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we see their house, and it's like madness, right? It's just like kids yelling. Him and his wife are like kind of yelling at each other. He's got like a train set up in their house. I don't know what that's about.
It's chaos.
This chaos.
Home is fucking chaos. It's a mess. And Teri Garr is a beautiful mess in the middle of it.
She is.
As she is in most movies she's in. Like, she's sort of the anchor that we all kind of lean on, because she's the one who looks around her and says, this is not okay. Like, you're going to get your shit together.
Yeah, actually, her character also played different for me this time around, because I think younger me watched this and was like, oh my God, why is she being such a nag? Like, she's being such a nag. And now I watch it and I'm like, well, he's acting bananas.
Yeah.
No wonder she's freaking out the way she freaks out. So he gets called on a job because there's like running power outages, and he goes into his car, and I love this scene so much. He's in his truck and he's trying to read a map, and a car like pulls up behind him, and he like waves it around, and it goes around, and it's like, you're blocking the road, asshole. That sort of thing.
By the way, that couple, they were in the movie Duel.
Oh,
there's a lot of Duel crossover. So I covered that a few months ago in Book versus Movie. So that couple was in there. They cut off Dennis Weaver, and we're like, and he called them a turkey as well, I think. So very 70s to call somebody a turkey. Jive turkey was like the ultimate insult.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling people turkey. I'm bringing it back. Good call.
Give it a comeback.
Let's do it. We could do it. Welcome to our new podcast, What a Turkey.
I think we've discovered the thing we could say instead of saying that person's lame, like, they're a turkey.
What a turkey. So again, like, lights come up behind him, and he like sticks his arm out and he waves it around, and instead of going around, it levitates. And I'm like, it's so good. Like, Spielberg is just so good at this shit. Like, I love how it levitates, and then everything starts shaking, the power goes out, like everything goes fucking batshit insane, and he burns half of his face, which he wears for like more than half the movie. I think he's got this like sunburn on one side of his face that his wife, I don't know, she doesn't believe him at all, but also has no explanation for why half of his face is burned, but whatever.
Well, he comes back home. Well, I don't know what happens right after that, but like he's driving along and he's trying to find the lights again because he's trying to figure out, isn't that right? Like, because Melinda Dillon, Melinda Dillon. Melinda. So she's like, Barry. And I have to say, I wish I saw this. I never want a bigger screen ever. Mm-hmm. I never really think about it, but this is one of those movies like, fuck, I wish I had one of those giant screens.
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful to watch.
This movie has like, it still looks
it's
amazing.
It
Yes.
really holds up, and they won an Oscar for its art direction for the cinematography. It deserved it. But she's running through the night. Look, she's sleeping in this white shirt and her jeans and shorts.
Like little jean shorts or something.
Yeah, very 70s. So
Yes.
she runs out looking for him. And she's like, because he's just like, bye, meep, meep. He's like running out in the field. And she's like, are you
By
fucking
the
kidding me?
way, 3-year-olds run a lot faster than you think. I will say,
I've been around them. Yeah, they're
Yes.
terrifying. They can get lost really quickly. You do have to watch them like a hawk.
yes,
But he's tearing off into the night, chasing these lights. So she's tearing off after him. Richard Dreyfuss is driving, looking for these things, and everyone's noticing these lights. And then he almost runs the kid over because the kid's just out in the middle of the road.
yes,
She grabs him, and then there's a bunch of people who've witnessed, and this would be the close encounter of a first kind, is when
Yes.
you see, it was a big deal. All this had to be explained. So that's when you first see, when you have contact or you witness something that's a UFO, which
Okay.
all it is an unidentified flying object. It
Yes.
can be anything. And it used to happen all the time with with pilots and especially early navigation, when they didn't know, when the Air Force was like trying. My brother told me about this because he was in the Navy,
Mhm.
and he was saying that they used to just try shit all the time. The armed forces, new bombs, new kinds of weapons, and they wouldn't tell people
Yeah.
because they just wanted to get the reaction to see how it worked. And they'd be up there and some shit would fly by them, like, what is that? Like, I'm trying to, anyway. So they're called Foo Fighters. These UFOs.
Hence the band.
Hence the name of the band. That's based on it. It's like a 40s lingo. Anyway, and it comes into place just because, like, the missing planes from 1945, those, and then the sub or the barge is from 1925, I
Yes.
believe. Is that right? Okay. So he and Blossoms, I think Blossoms is there, as Blossoms in another scene, but it's a group of people that see immigrants. I'm sorry, I think they're in a truck.
Yeah.
It's,
and they're
workers
just
or something.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
camping out at this spot because this is the spot to see them.
And it's beautiful to
Yeah.
watch. And so he has this experience, and he talks to Melinda Dillon, and she's like, and we don't know what her deal is, I guess, because she has a wedding ring on, I think, but she never mentions anyone.
Yeah. I don't know
Um,
if did he pass away? Is she divorced? They never really make that very clear.
They don't make it clear. She has a big old house just for her and her son. So he goes home to Teri Garr, and Teri Garr is in bed sleeping because it's like 3 a.m,
Like a normal
And-
person.
like a normal person. And he doesn't come home and like take a shower and try to process what he did. His instinct is to come home, drag everybody out of bed,
Mm-hmm.
and then go out in the car and look for it again.
Yes, he wants
And I
to.
don't
He
know-
wants to share it with them, I guess. But
I guess I'm trying to think, like, what would my dad do? I think my dad would probably say, you got to see this. And my mother would be like, you get your ass back in bed. And no, like,
which is what Teri Garr is trying to do. She's
trying to do, but he's like totally steamrolling her. Like, he really, really wants them to be a part of this. And I don't know. So after this, I know there's different stuff in different versions. So you tell me.
Okay, so he takes them out to this same area because he's hoping that the ships will come back and they will see it. It doesn't happen. And actually, Teri Garr has this funny line. It's probably in your version too, where she says, "Don't you think I'm taking this really well?" Like that he
Yes.
like woke her up, like dragged her and all the kids out to this random street, to see it. And so that happens, and then it cuts again and goes to the ship in the middle of the desert. And there is a whole thing about they go to India as well, and the people in India have also seen the lights and the ships, and they are doing the chant, which we all know now, if you've seen the movie, is those tones that they keep replaying, the dun 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 dun. Like they're all like chanting it, basically.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yes, you do it very well. So they're all chanting it, and they're ramping up. They're figuring it out. These are UFOs. And again, it cuts back to Roy, because Roy's like, he's our main guy. Richard Dreyfuss is our main guy, and he is just obsessed now. He's obsessed with it, as you would be. You would be. I mean, if you saw something totally crazy like that, you would you would be bananas too. But Ronnie, the Teri Garr character, is just like, what the fuck? Like, she doesn't. She
doesn't get it because he's like really. He gets fired.
Yes.
And then he's like imagining the shape of a mountain. And he's like the mashed potato scene where he's like.
The mashed potato scene starts kind of funny because you're like, oh my God. Because he's already done it like once before with shaving cream. And now he's doing it with the mashed potatoes and he's making something. And you're like, oh my God, like that's a lot of mashed potatoes, dude. But then as it like kind of pans back, you see like his kids are like, what the fuck? Like one of them starts like tearing up at the table because they're just like, Dad is losing his mind.
Yeah. And he starts crying.
Yes.
So that's upsetting them even more because we don't see her. I never saw my dad do that. I don't know about you. Right. So
I've seen my dad cry one time and it was when his dog died.
Oh,
it was so sad. Other than that, no, he never cries.
Yeah. I mean, my dad got weepy when he got older, like in his 60s. He had to carry a hanky because he would.
Oh,
it was very sweet. He had that little pocket hanky. But when he was younger, he was all business and he wouldn't have been. So he's really losing it. And Teri Garr is getting sick of it because he's just obsessed just with this thing and he can't communicate to her. And there's no scene where he's like at a psychiatrist or talking to I think there was a scene they shot where he was at a police station. Is that in your version?
So in the version I see, there is a scene where he just breaks down. Like he's locked himself in the bathroom and he's in the shower and fully clothed and he's just broken because he's obsessed with this image and with the UFOs and he can't stop himself. It is a scene that in the version you watched, it doesn't have that version. And I think it needs that. No, it does.
That.
It does have it. You're right.
It does. Because the son's screaming crybaby
yes,
at him.
It wasn't in the original movie. And I'm glad that it's been put back in because it is like one of the only scenes where we see that he can't help it at this point. Like
it's overtaken his logic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which it wouldn't have been clear any other way.
Right. And there's also a scene, I think it's a deleted scene, where he's at a police station and he's saying, I saw this thing, and he's trying to give a report. And there's two police officers there that did see it as well, but they both deny it.
Yeah.
And one of them is just because he just won't tell himself he saw it. And the other one because he doesn't want to look like a lunatic.
Right.
So now he's like, am I being gaslit? Like, am I going crazy or is this real? The only other person he saw that he could connect with was Melinda Dillon because she burned her face and her chest, which she opens up right away. If this was you and your husband and your kids and you're going off and then your husband's just walking out with some blonde is like carrying him to another spot and opening up her blouse and all of that, I would be suspicious, but maybe she's just distracted.
I don't know.
And didn't notice.
Yeah, the Jillian Roy relationship in this movie is they are bonded over the fact that they have seen this thing and
they're obsessed with it, and she is too.
Yeah, and she becomes and they're both obsessed with like the mountain image and, you know, Barry, the little boy's playing the little sound on his little toy xylophone. I had one of those toys growing up. And this scene is this part is like so fucked up is the UFO then kind of descends on Jillian's house and she lives in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. And it's taking over room by room.
Yes.
So and Melinda Dillon said there wasn't any rehearsal. They kind of just threw her into it with the kid.
Yeah.
So she's like, she just got the part like a week before.
Right.
She didn't really have all this time to prep. So they put her in there and it's all these practical effects, but they're like the stove is doing this and this is doing that and the lights are going off and she's freaking out. And then she's thinking of her poor little kid and he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
he's not
great,
he's
back.
not scared at all. He's not scared at all and she's terrified. And that scene is all of that stuff
Upsetting.
is so upsetting. And eventually, like, the little boy, like, he wants to see the aliens. He thinks they're fun. He's not afraid of them. He crawls through, like, their little, like, doggy door, and she's holding onto his foot, and he gets away from her, and they take him, and she runs out into the field, and she's screaming for him. And for me, this hit me way harder this time. It's like fucking nightmare fuel. Like, a 3-year-old is pretty helpless, and no one's going to believe her. Like, her son is taken and no one is going to believe her. They're going to be like, okay, crazy lady. Like, sure. And I'm like, fucking nightmare. And she does a really good job in that.
She's nominated.
Yeah. She sells it. She does. She's really good.
So so Roy's family, he's falling apart, and Teri Garr is just like, dude, I can't take this. Like, I'm going to my sister's. Yeah. I got to get the kid. So she's like removing the kids out of the situation because she's got to protect them. And she just takes off in their station wagon.
That scene is bananas too.
Yes. This is not for little kids. This movie would be very upsetting for a kid to watch, I think.
There's a whole thing where, like, the military tries to convince them that they didn't see what they saw. I think it's the Roberts Blossom character who's like, I saw Bigfoot once, and like just fucking, he makes them all look crazy. Like, so there's that whole thing. And then he decides he's going to build the mountain. Roy is going to build the mountain. He's going to sculpt it in their house because he can't help himself anymore. This is just what he has to do. I don't know why he isn't just going in and out through the front door, but instead he's crawling in and out of their window, and he's like grabbing.
Why doesn't he do it in the garage? Why is he doing this in their house?
I don't know.
He makes no sense. He's really gone over the edge. And then he's watching TV, and then what is the name of that place they film
Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower. Is that North Dakota or South Dakota?
It is Wyoming.
Wyoming, sorry. It's near, not at Mount Everest. What am I thinking of? The president's thing.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so he's watching TV, and there's this, they're saying that, by Devil's Tower, there's this nerve gas that went out, and people need to leave the region there. Mm-hmm. They gotta go. You can't be in there. So Melinda Dillon watches it at the same time that he watches it. And they both are like, I got to get there. Yeah. So they are heading towards it. While everyone's running away from it, they're heading towards it. Yes. And that's when they meet up and they pair up and they get the gas masks, and she has the little birds that she got from someplace. I forget.
Yeah. I don't know where she got the birds, but she's got these little birds in a cage. They're canary in a coal mine, basically. Like, if the birds are still alive, the air is breathable, and the birds stay alive. There's dead animals everywhere. By the way, then somebody, like, I'm like, did they kill a bunch of animals to make it look like there's nerve gas? But apparently it's some sort of sleeping gas.
A sleeping gas that'll give you one hell of a headache in 6 hours. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm like, but is it really a sleeping gas? I don't know. Like, I think they're trying. I don't know.
I can't. It's hard to tell sometimes. I mean, they're driving along, and I felt the same way. Like, those are real carcasses, or did they make them fake? I hope they're fake. Yeah. But there's like cows and horses, and then they get picked up by the government. Yes. Which is looking for everybody, and there's a group of people that have had that same thing where they saw something, and they felt compelled to get to Devil's Rock. Right. Yeah. Devil's Rock.
Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower. And they felt compelled to go there. And so they're in a helicopter type thing where they're going to be shipped away. And Roy and Melinda Dillon, they take their masks off and they decide to run, and they're going to go for it. They're going to go for the tower. Yes. And one other dude named Larry goes with them.
Come on, Larry.
let's do this, Larry. So they're running up the hill, and it's the middle of the night, and poor Larry, like, he gets gassed somehow.
You fucking knew Larry wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, he had that written all over him.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he was shaking his hand, and they're like, come on, dude, catch up.
Yeah.
And you know, like, oh, he's not going to make it. And he just gets gassed, I think, and then just passes out.
Yeah.
But they make it up to the tower. And then there's this whole thing where everyone's at the tower now, and we forgot, like, you know, the French guy, Truffaut and Balaban are trying to negotiate with the U.S. First, they talk to Roy. He's like, I want to talk to who's in charge. I love that whole thing.
Yeah, and they're like, you are. But also, he does say this line where he says, like, you have no right to make people think they're crazy. Right. And I was like, he's right. Like, they're really fucking with people's lives by not being honest with them about what's really going on. At the same time, we as a race have proven that a lot of us are garbage people. And we can't be trusted with this kind of information. Like, clearly people, not a majority of people, but some people are not going to act appropriately. We can't be trusted with this kind of information. Let me ask you. Yeah. Do you actually think there are UFOs?
Absolutely. But I think also that it just means an unidentified flying object. It doesn't mean that my brother John was also believed not only in Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, but he also was really into UFO. So he'd be totally into this conversation and say, like, you know, that one guy in there, he was in the 70s. He was the blah, 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 blah of the UFO movement. Like, he really, really got into it.
Okay.
But it was also, we should say, like, these things were huge in the 70s.
Yes.
Into the 80s, UFO sightings and Bigfoot and all these crazy myths. Yeah.
And that's why then you get something like the X-Files, which is... was by the time X-Files came, all of that stuff had kind of died down, and then you had someone like Mulder who was like still obsessed with it. Yes. And that's why everyone's like, what a weirdo, you know, because he's obsessed with such a weird thing. So, but again, as a human race, we've clearly proven that we can't be trusted with important information. We won't even get vaccinated when we're told there's a virus. So I get it.
I understand they want to handle it first. And so they make the tower, they figure out, and I do like the scene. I like this movie very much, by the way.
Yeah.
But I like the part where they have the globe, like Balaban is like, you know, I'm not just a linguist, or I'm not just a French interpreter. I was actually a cartographer.
Yes.
And those are longitude and latitude. Like, they're giving us a place. So they take the globe and they actually like bring it into the room, and they figure out it's Devil's Towers where the spaceships are going to meet up.
Yes.
And they're going to talk with us. So that's why they're all headed there. So that's why the government wants to get as many people out of there as possible, because they don't know what's going to happen. They're trying to control it as best they can.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's weird because I think, like, well, they just want to blow shit up. Like, why doesn't it? They never at any point even consider shooting down or taking down.
Yes.
This. They just want to interact with them.
Which is one of the things I love about it.
Yes, that's what I like about it too. Like, it's always curiosity that leads people.
Yes.
So I enjoy that. But they go to this thing, and there's a couple of ships that go by, and people are like, woo, and it lands, and they go away, and it's like, woo. And Richard Dreyfuss is like, I'm gonna go down there with all those people. What about you, Melinda, Dillon? It's just like, nah, Barry's not there. And first, I mean, he just leaves his family. I mean, he's out. I mean, he's completely gone.
Yes.
He's just untethered to anything at this point. And she just wants her son back.
Yes.
So they do have a kissing scene.
Yeah. Seems weird.
It seems weird, but I don't know. They've bonded at this point. Like, they're really, maybe they feel like they're the only person that understands the other one. Believe the other one.
I assume that that's what that is. I'm like, also, it just seems like something they threw in because they feels like that's what you put in a movie. It didn't seem like right for those characters, to be honest, but that's okay.
It's just a moment.
Yeah, you just gotta let some shit slide. But like, yeah,
Right.
Roy has completely forgotten that he has a wife and kids.
3 kids, and they're little too. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, nah, I'm obsessed with the UFOs. They're my thing now. They're my new family. So he's like, I'm going down there, which again, they've done a lot to keep people out and keep people away. But by the time the ships show up, Roy's just walking around them amongst them,
all
like
stunned.
Yeah, they're all just like, what are you gonna do, man? Like,
yeah. And so the mothership shows up, and oh, by the way, all of this is beautiful.
it
and
looks,
really,
it still looks
amazing.
so good.
It does. It's very believable.
Yes.
We should also say that Spielberg had said that he was so worried about copycat movies being made for TV because he was a very successful filmmaker, and that would happen. You know, a Halloween would be popular, so then all these TV movies would come out with like serial killer teenagers and stuff like all this stuff. So he didn't want that to happen. So this was all under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then it goes that the first people to come off the mothership does the music back and forth, and there's that symphony back and forth, which is fun. And that ba 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 ba.
I'm glad that guy on the keyboard doesn't mess up.
No, it's and I'm sorry, my cat is on top of me. Okay.
Aww.
And well, she sees the treats behind me. Okay, you got to wait a minute. So he sees, and then the ship opens up, and what comes out first is Barry. Thank God.
Well,
we didn't need the soldiers first.
Well, it's a bunch of soldiers first, and then people just start coming off, and like they haven't aged. Like they've been, it's all these people. And then I am not going to lie. Like the minute Barry's little feet show up, I've seen this movie. I totally cried. I cried this time. I cried. Like it hit me like, and he's so cute. He's just like, I went up in the air.
He just had an adventure. He was happy.
Yeah.
And the other men and the guys there are like very like, hello, soldier, you're home now. You're going to be debriefed. He's like, oh, hi. Is it 1945 still?
You're in for a surprise. You're in for a surprise, sir. But
meet your grandchildren.
Yes. All the stuff with Barry with the I went up in the air, and then Melinda Dillon's like, I saw you go up in the air. Did you see me running after you?
Like, a little brat, don't ever do that again.
I'm like, it just hit me in like a special place. But yeah, all these people come off, and I'm like, there's like almost like a whole other movie that they could make here with.
Right.
Like, what is up with these people? Well, actually, I think there was a movie made like this later, but with these people that haven't,
a couple of them,
they haven't aged. Like, what's their life going to be like now? And like you said, I love that at no point is there like a military guy that's like, and now we're going to blow up the aliens, because I think that that's 100% what that movie would do now. Like, there would be like a military bad guy who's like, I'm gonna blow them up. And
that would be a B plot or a C plot that we'd have to deal with, and I'm glad he doesn't do that. That's not even a consideration. Like, they're filming it, it's information, it's something new, and then there's a bunch of people that are basically being tributes. Like, I volunteered to.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yes, I volunteer as tribute, and Roy's like, yep, that's me. I'm going.
Yeah.
Doesn't think twice. Like, he's
what family?
What family, what kids, what job, whatever. Like, I'm not even going to call.
Yeah.
And say, I love you. I got to do this. I'm sorry, but I got to, like, no writing down a note.
Nothing.
Like, he just goes. And then so as he's going onto the ship, so the original version is then there becomes like the head alien or whatever that comes out. And I love that scene where it interacts with Truffaut.
Yeah.
I do love that.
The first one that comes out, that's all like limbs and the way it moves, I'm like, it's very creepy. Like,
it is.
Like, but it's like so well done. And then like all the little ones come out and they're so cute. It's like, okay, everybody, we're here at the rest stop. Stretch your legs. Like, and they all come out. Whee! Like,
You got to go to the bathroom. Let me know.
this is the place to go. But I do love the scene with the alien that's doing the hand gestures with Truffaut. Like,
I think it's great.
It's so great.
It's really nice. It's a nice moment. And then we have, it depends on which movie you see.
yes.
But because in the original version, that's where it ends. Like
Yes.
Richard Dreyfuss is kind of walking towards up the gangplank towards the ship, and
Yeah.
that's that.
And he's like, peace out, suckers.
Peace. And it was because Paramount Pictures was going broke trying to get at the time. Like they had a lot of flop
Yeah.
movies, and he wanted it out in the summer of '78. And they were like, nah, Star Wars is so big and we got this movie. Like, you got to get it ready by Christmas. Like,
Mhm.
they got to. So he's like, fuck. So he had to, like, get this movie together with the John Williams score, get this cohesive thing going. All the effects had to happen. And then it becomes this very successful movie, as Sonia says. And you hear that ba, 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 all over the place. And then they re-release it, and then that version has Richard Dreyfuss on the ship, and it's just not that exciting. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I like it better without, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's just not enough that's we're show. He gets sparkles with these lights, and then some people are like, well, then is he the one that goes out and greets Truffaut? Like, has he been? But no, because the
No.
other people were on off, and they didn't get transformed.
Yeah.
So that's and that's that. And Spielberg later said, "Yeah, I'm a father now. I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't make any of those choices. Like, that would not be how the story would go."
Right.
But I think what I got from it, especially because I get very annoyed with Roy as a character, but then I have to understand that he's in PTSD mode. He's been
Yeah.
he witnessed something that shook up his psyche and his core, and he has nobody to talk to except for Melinda Dillon that
Yeah.
even understands a shred. And he can't, like you said, he just can't turn it off in his head. He wants to, but he can't.
Yes.
And so he's like completely indulges in it, and that's where it takes him.
Yeah. I understand. Like, he is a frustrating character, and then in turn, like, it makes Teri Garr's character look like a nag. She's behaving actually like a normal person probably would in that situation, which is, I have to protect my kids. This guy is acting really bananas.
Yeah, he's making the mashed potatoes.
She
Like,
can't
it's-
predict his behavior right now.
Yeah.
And that's can be really scary when you're married to someone or you're living with someone in your home. And you feel unsafe. Like, of course she's going to pack up her kids and leave. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But as a kid, I was like, why doesn't she just believe him? Like,
Why doesn't she go with them to the mountain with her kids in
yeah,
tow? Can you
exactly.
imagine what that would be like
She should get on the spaceship with him.
with all their kids? Let's go as a family. What could
Family
go
trip.
wrong? What could possibly go wrong with this? Yeah. There's no winners here. Like, it's kind of, they're all doing the best they can with what they know and the tools they have.
Yeah,
And that's the whole point. But I think it looks beautiful.
it does.
It really looks great. The soundtrack is probably my favorite John Williams score, to be honest. And I like his stuff.
So beautiful.
It really works with everything that's happening in the movie. Melinda Dillon is amazing.
She's so great.
She really is. I just think it's, yeah.
And Truffaut is great. He's so good, I think.
I think he is too. No, he at the time, he said that he really admired Spielberg. He said, because, and you think about trying to be in charge of all this and make all these moving pieces come together. And he said he always kept his temper in check. You know, we hear about directors all the time that just lose it on everybody for the dumbest things. And here's something like, he's got a lot of money at stake. He doesn't know how it's going to come out because they don't have any of the special effects worked out.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trusting it's going to work. The money's running out. you're in Alabama and all these places filming this, and
Yeah.
you're trying to make this all. And Truffaut's one of your heroes, and you're trying to make him feel comfortable.
Yes.
And it had to have been overwhelming, and he didn't lose it on people. And I don't think he gets enough credit for being like a very even-tempered, good director,
Yeah.
like with that, because then people can just do their thing.
Yeah.
You know,
the fact that this movie works is a fucking miracle. I mean, the truth is, like, look at Jaws too, right? Like, Jaws was one where it's like everything that could go wrong, like, fucking goes
Right.
wrong on Jaws. And he still, like, made it work. And that movie is also a miracle. I mean, maybe you could say, well, every movie is a miracle that it even gets made. But there are so many moving pieces on this movie with, like,
Yeah.
all the different stories, the visual effects. You're working with kids, like,
all of it.
all of it. And the fact that it works is
multiple locations, people speaking different languages, and trying to make sense of that and have it come across cohesive. This whole story had to be a cohesive
yes.
narrative. And most of his movies are really great. Like, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, he is like
That's not an accident. I think he's just really spoiler, we think Spielberg is great. Here's your hot take.
Hot take, everybody. Spielberg's really talented. I think he's gonna make it. Like, I think because in most cases, Spielberg focuses on the story. Maybe not
Yes.
always, but I would say most of the time, like, he grounds movies in the story and in humans. And that's why so many of them work. I mean, I'm not a Spielberg expert by any means, like,
You're not?
but I've,
We've
seen
seen most of his movies, right?
I've seen most of his movies. I wouldn't say, like, I'm not some, like, published expert on Spielberg, but I think that his movies can, even something out like that is outlandish as Close Encounters with all these visual effects, it's still grounded in a reality
And human.
and human, and things like E.T., also, and even Jurassic Park, if you want to get technical, is like, there's shit in that's fucking human, and he
Yeah.
made dinosaurs exist again. Damn.
He and he did that like right after he did Schindler's List. Like, it's just his entire filmography is like, he did Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's comedy he doesn't really do. Like, there's 1941,
Yeah.
but he does. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, everything he does is just it's so exceptionally well done, and it's, like I said, this movie is beautiful to look at too.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous, and I have unbeknownst to me, I own the Blu-ray, so I'll be definitely checking out the other editions on it as well. It looked great on mine, and it's just it's fucking solid, man. It's solid.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I want to list for us a bunch of other, like, UFO movies, but I did want to go through, like, who else was nominated for. It was nominated for Melinda Dillon was nominated, and I wanted to share with you the other actresses in supporting. So here we go. Leslie Brown for The Turning Point. Did you ever see that?
yeah, that was on Amazon. It was streaming on Amazon a few months ago. I was going through an Anne Bancroft thing. I wanted to see all of her movies, so it's good. It's a movie about ballet. Like, it's so, like, 1979, like 78, 79, like this time in movies where there could just be about anything.
Okay. Quinn Cummings for The Goodbye Girl.
She's I'm a big fan of her.
Yeah, and I should note Richard Dreyfuss actually won the Oscar this year for The Goodbye Girl. Then Melinda Dillon was nominated. Tuesday Weld for Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
Really, that movie's fucked
It's
up.
a laugh riot. And then the winner was Vanessa Redgrave for Julia.
Yes, and she gave a speech where she got very political.
How dare she?
Yeah, well, it was pretty intense. She was talking about Zionist hoodlums, which is like, maybe you don't want to use those words.
Ooh, oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, so I was going through all the Oscars, and it's this crazy year because it's Close Encounters and Star Wars are both out in the same year. So you have these two movies that are visually like super impressive competing in all the like editing, art direction, special effects, all of that. And then the winner for like writing, directing, acting, stuff like that is Annie Hall, Woody Allen.
You know, look, we have our Woody Allen thoughts, but
Yes, we do. We did a whole episode on What a Creep.
yeah, it's a good movie.
It is. He's a creep, but
He's a creep, but that's it's a great movie.
yeah. But I made a list.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, you.
No, you.
Okay, I was going to say I have a list of other UFO movies for us.
Okay.
Okay. Signs.
I like Signs
Me too.
very much.
This one's one of my favorite UFOs movies, The Arrival.
Oh, is that Amy
Adams.
Adams? That's a really good one.
I love that movie.
It's also a stone cold bummer.
Yeah, it's a stone cold bummer. It is. That one I know for a fact I own on DVD because I just really love it. Contact.
Great movie.
It is a good one. Independence Day.
I like Independence Day, even though it's ridiculous.
Independence Day is one of my kids' like faves. And I'm like, maybe we'll watch that on 4th of July. That feels appropriate.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds.
I have my thoughts about Tom Cruise, but that's a great movie. It's really well done. And it's also Spielberg.
Yes. Yeah. Tom Cruise is a movie star. Sorry, he is. He is.
He is. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm like, do we like him as a person? No. Okay.
I'm reading a lot of books about Scientology right now. I'll tell you about my research, but I was like, oh boy, yeah, this guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. E.T.
I love E.T.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love E.T.? Like a monster. Only a monster wouldn't love E.T. That one also wrecked me in the theater when I was a kid.
Oh, my!
Wrecked
I haven't
me.
seen it in a while because it still wrecks me.
So sad. Nope.
Oh, Nope. Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't like it that much.
I liked it. I actually wonder if I would like it even more if I watched it again. But I don't know when I'll do that. Okay. Mars Attacks.
It's okay. I wish I liked it more. I love the idea of it.
Yeah. I love the look of
But
the aliens.
Yeah, I think like the conception of it, I like the idea and the conception, but I think like the execution's lacking.
I love the way they talk too. And then two more. Cocoon.
I love Cocoon,
Yes.
even though it's ridiculous. I do love that movie. It has a lot of heart.
Yeah, and it's got our old man crush, Brian Dennehy.
We got to cover that. Yeah, because it's been a while since we've done the Dennehy.
Like once a month, we have to cram in another Dennehy movie.
Yes.
And then one last one, Starman.
I fucking love
Yes.
Starman.
It's because
I do like UFO movies.
It's really, really good. Starman is fucking
It's
great.
really very romantic and very
It
sweet.
is. It is.
And Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen are great together.
I love her. Well, I love
her
him
too.
and her.
Do you want to hear the top 10 songs when this movie originally came out in 77?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a top 10 list. I'm going to tell you right now. I love 9 of these songs very much. And one of them, I screamed out loud because I hate it, but that's okay. You'll know which one it is
Okay.
because you know me.
Yeah.
Number 10, Fleetwood Mac, You Make Love and Fun.
I love Fleetwood Mac. Love.
That Love and Rumors is a great album.
Yes, it is.
Number 9, Chicago, Baby What a Big Surprise.
Baby, what
Good
a
song.
big surprise.
Surprise! This song is great. LTD, Every Time I Turn Around, Back in Love Again.
I love that song. That's
a jam.
That's a jam. That's a roller skating song right there.
That is a fucking jam. I love this one too. Rita Coolidge, We're All Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Close your window, come alive. Everything be all right. Paul Nichols, Heaven on the Seventh Floor. great disco song.
Mm.
Heaven on the seventh
yes.
floor. Number 5. I love these. Linda Ronstadt. It's So Easy.
I love old Linda Ronstadt songs. They're so great.
And number 4, Linda Ronstadt.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Bayou.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Her
Yes.
voice is just perfection.
It is.
Number 3, The Bee Gees. How Deep Is Your Love?
Oh, come on. I mean,
Come on.
yeah.
That's like who has not slow danced to that song?
Seriously, the song's
What
great.
monster environment do you grow up in? Okay. Number 2, I do love this song. It's cheesy, but I love it. Crystal Gale, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue?
I just heard that song the other day on the radio, and then on my satellite radio. Thank you very much. And actually sat in the car until the song was over because I was
awesome.
I love this song.
And her hair. Remember she had that super long hair?
Yes. So long.
Number 1, Miss Debbie Boone. You Light Up My Life.
Boo.
Sorry, I really don't like that.
That
song.
won all kinds of awards that year too. It won because it was from the movie You Light Up My Life.
It's like that. And do you remember Endless Love? It's just like a really drippy ballad for me. Is just like if I can't dance to it and
Yeah.
sing along to it, I'm just like
That one and Endless Love, which actually is almost like a funny song to me now because it's been used in movies to such good effect. And
Yes.
then The Rose by Bette Midler is another one where
oh boy,
I'm like, no. Practically crash my car trying to change the station when it goes on.
I listen to a lot of Sirius 70s on 7 for research and just because I do like 70s music. But every time they begin that "Bye Bye Miss American Pie," I'm like, oh, this is 12 minutes.
Oh my, it's 12 minutes you're not going to get back.
Yes, it's just like, Don McLean.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
I am dorking out about. I can say it. I am going to be writing a book.
Yay! This is the big news. Big news.
So for the next year or so, just brace yourselves. There will be times I'll be bringing up things of mid-70s nature because I'm seeping into that. Because I'm writing the book, I'm going to call it, on Saturday Night Fever, and I'm very, very excited.
Amazing.
Yes, I've manifested something into my life, so I'm very excited. So there's that. That's why I've been reading so much about Scientology and John Travolta.
So proud of you, my friend. This is so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Also excited because I finally saw Megan this week.
Oh, what'd you think?
Loved it.
It was so fun, right? So fun.
It's amazing. I hope they make 1 million of them. I will watch them all.
I'm so glad that you liked it because I thought it was super fun.
Allison Williams is really good in it. I thought the kid was great. I love Megan.
Yeah.
She's a great villain.
Yes.
I just think she's evil and wonderful. I wish I had this movie when I was 10. I would have loved it.
Oh my God. 12-year-old Sonia would have been obsessed with the movie Megan.
I would want the novelization of it. I'd want a poster. I'd want the music.
Yes.
I'm all in. I'm all in with Megan. Make all of the Megans you want. I'm into Bravo's Project Runway, the new season.
Oh, yeah.
They have their 4th or 5th episode they just dropped. It's on Peacock and Bravo channel. But what it is it's their 20th anniversary, I believe. I can't believe it's around this long.
Oh my God.
I know. I feel really old. And it's people from it's all these really big hitters from all the seasons in the past.
Okay.
So there's Cara Son from the first season. She was one of the and it's really good. I like Christian
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yes, God damn it. Sorry, Siriano. He's a great host. He's really good at it. They're so talented. I like the challenges. The challenges have been really good so far, and they're really this is a really good group of people. So they put out spectacular stuff. So it's been fun. Also, Netflix has a documentary called Muscles and Mayhem, which is about American gladiators, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I got really into it. I have issues with some of the editing, but that's it's like if you're into like 90s pop culture, it totally will scratch that itch. And you'll also want to like it's especially with the WGA striking and all this stuff with, ESPN had a huge amount of layoffs yesterday. National Geographic. Steve Young was fired.
Damn.
It's like 20 on-air talent people on air talent.
Wow.
Were fired. Because Disney decided they're going to fire like a fourth of their whatever. They got rid of National Geographic.
So they can make a little bit of money.
A little bit of it. I mean, it's really infuriating.
Yep.
And when you hear like how little these people made,
I
and
know,
they put their bodies on the line, you're going to want to storm a castle. Like this is how communism starts. People just pay people.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, and I want to finish with I'm still watching And Just Like That, even though it makes me crazy. I just can't. There's a scene, you hear in the first episode of the first season how Carrie's husband dies.
Yeah, big.
In her arms.
Yeah.
And everybody says the same thing. Like she takes forever to call 911.
Yes.
In this show, in this latest episode, spoiler, just real quick spoiler. There's a scene where she's at a party and one of the waiters is stealing the merchandise.
Oh.
And she just watches him do it and doesn't say a fucking word. He doesn't have a gun. He doesn't do it quickly. And then at some point somebody goes, stop him, say something. And she just yells, I have COVID. I'm like, she is so fucking useless as a friend. I'm just so like, Carrie. Anyway, I still watching it.
Yeah.
What can I say?
I am not watching it, but I love listening to other people recap it for me.
Yes. Listen to recaps. It's a lot more fun than the show itself.
I can't do it. I know we have one other thing we're going to talk about, but I wanted to, before we talk about that, I want to mention that I did watch all 3 episodes of Arnold, the Netflix documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I have to say, it was better than I thought it would be. Like, they divided it up by one episode is his bodybuilding and one episode is Hollywood. And then the final episode is like politics. And I was really impressed with how honest he is about a lot of what he did back in the day. I thought it was actually pretty good. I didn't know like a ton of stuff about the bodybuilding stuff. I've never seen Pumping Iron.
I was just going to say, I watched it like 100 times when I was a kid.
Oh, wow. No,
it was on HBO a lot or something.
So I didn't know that much about like Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger, to be honest. And so to learn all of that and learn about his upbringing, and again, like he's showing some real vulnerability here when he talks about like his parents and his growing up, and his brother like passed away because he got killed in like a drunk driving accident. And then there's this whole episode about politics, and he talks about like the stories that came out about him like groping women, and he's just like, I fucked up. Like, I did fucked up shit. I'm super sorry for it. Like, I hurt my kids. I hurt my family. He talks about his like child that he had with the housekeeper.
Yeah. And I had the baby with the nanny.
Yeah. And he talks about like, he's like the son, I think the son's name is Joseph. And he's like, he's grown up to be this amazing man. Like, he is like, he's like, I made a mistake, but he is not a mistake. And
that's a good thing to say.
Yeah, because I was like, how's he gonna? Because he was just like, I did a really fucked up thing, and I hurt my wife and my kids and all this stuff. And then he goes on to say these really great things about Joseph, and I thought it was really, really interesting. And like,
I think he's very interesting.
yeah, he's an interesting dude. And like politically, I don't always agree like with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, but you know, he seems very when he was governor of California, which again is fucking bananas to me that Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California for 7 years or 11 years. I forget how long. Anyway, he seemed very open to like listening and learning, and he wasn't like a partisan hack. He was very like open to like talking to other people. He hired a lot of Democrats on his staff, and I think that's pretty cool. I was very interested, and I'm kind of digging like old man Schwarzenegger, and he's got like a donkey that he's like he's got like a donkey and like a miniature horse that he has like living with him, and he like lets them in the house. Like all this stuff.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, I'm gonna watch this because I love me a little horse. I love horsies.
Yes, and like it's pretty sweet, and he's like, you know, he's all like Mr. like he cares about climate change, and he's like, you know, mainly like vegan or vegetarian at this point, so he's like Mr. Healthy. Anyway, it's super interesting, and I felt like it was worth watching. I'm glad I watched it.
I'll watch it now. You've solidified it for me. Okay. I'm gonna watch it.
Well, I'm gonna watch the American Gladiator one because you sold me on that one. But we need to talk about season 2 of The Bear, right? We need to.
How did you like it?
I fucking loved it. Okay, if you guys don't want spoilers, you should just go ahead and turn it off now. But you know, come back after you finished it. But I need to ask you, do you think Carmy and Sid are like in love?
Yes, that's my whole thing.
Yeah,
I think like it's a not Sam and Diane, but it's like almost like Mulder and Scully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so. I honestly didn't see it in the first season where I was like, no, like this is more of like a mentor-mentee type situation, and then. But what I was seeing this season was like, it was interesting to me that they introduced this woman, Claire, and she seems very lovely, by the way. She seems very nice. You know, she's very sweet to him. She's obviously had a crush on him for a long time, and he's had a crush on her and all of this stuff. And like, but the timing of their relationship is obviously not great. But she seems to represent like old Carmy, and Sid is like new. Like Claire's going back, and Sydney would be the future. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff on TikTok where there's like a lot of arguing about Carm and Sydney and Carm and Claire. And a lot of African American creators are saying that if Sydney was white, this wouldn't even be a discussion. That they would be like, obviously Carm and Sydney belong together, but because she is black, people put her in a friend zone. And I thought that was very interesting discussion.
Yeah, well, also, it's not, let's be clear, like, it's not like either character is screaming, I need a relationship. I need to be loved and a hug right now.
Exactly.
Let's talk. Let's open up and let's talk about our feelings. Like, these are two people, like, they manifest their emotions into their cooking.
Yes.
And they have a lot of shit they're dealing with. And they're trying to get to the next level and the next place in their lives. And Carmy needs to do some work on himself.
For sure, dude. Get a therapist. Get a therapist.
He needs some therapy. When Richie has to tell you to calm down. and he made Richie snap because he's so broken sometimes. Like he spins out. And then he can't seem to center himself. And that last scene of him in the freezer, or in the fridge, the walk-in fridge, and he's stuck in there. It's like agonizing, but at the same time, it's kind of what needed to happen.
Yes.
It's how much do you want to eat at that restaurant?
I want to eat at that restaurant real bad.
Same. And especially, and how much did you like it when Richie went to that really nice restaurant and all those people working there? Oh,
that was like my favorite episode of the season.
Yeah.
Like that is the episode where like Richie as a character clicked for me. Finally. It took me a while, and it's my favorite episode this season. But the truth is, this season is just, for me, a better season. I liked season 1 very much, by the way. I just think this season is better. And I think it's because they gave all the other characters some room to like breathe a little. Everyone is trying to do a little work on themselves to get to the next place. And that like works for me.
Everyone can relate to that.
Yeah. If you can't relate to that, you should figure out why you can't relate to that.
Yeah, I don't think I can be friends with you. I mean, there's something, people want to be a better version of themselves.
Yes.
And they want to see if they can exceed their limitations that they put on themselves, and they want to just try a little harder. And they all just want to do the best job they can every day. And that's just to make like a really great meal for somebody. Yeah. And I think that's amazing. And all the work that's involved. And I just respect it so much. And that restaurant where they go to get the pizza for people.
Yes.
Like I was just knocked out. All of them had really great stories and stuff. And that's also, because now you really care about all these people.
Yes.
And it's the human story now too.
Yes. There's the episode that's set in like Christmas like 5 years ago, and that's with Jamie Lee Curtis, who's probably going to win like every award imaginable for this performance. Bob Odenkirk, John Mulaney, Sarah Paulson, like, oh my God, Jillian Jacobs from Community, like all of these people, like, and that episode is so intense. Yeah. Like, it's just so intense. Like, I actually, like, both of us had the same thing where we were both starting it at like 10:30 at night, and we were both like, nope.
Gotta go to bed. I gotta turn this off or I'll never get a wink of sleep.
And then I think the episode after that is the Richie episode. And that episode was so fucking good because he feels like he's being punished by being there. And it's really because Carmy loves him so much. And knows that, like, he's so good with people. He just needs to get out of his own. Yeah, he needs encouragement. Needs to get out of his own way. And, like, over a period of, like, a short time, like a week, like, he cleans up his act. I love the conversation he has with, the woman who plays Chef Teri. She like won an Oscar like recently. Oh my God, why can't I remember her name? From Fleabag.
I know. Yes. Olivia Colman.
Yes, thank you. Jesus.
Yes. I just realized that. Yeah, that whole scene where they're just like paring the mushrooms.
They're just like kind of they're just peeling this mushrooms, but like his curiosity about people and how he's like asking questions, and they're bonding over their like both being raised in military families, and like, and then for him to just be like, he puts on the suit and he's like, it feels like armor. And the guy's like, yeah, it's the fucking point. And like everyone in the restaurant falls in love with Richie. And by the end of the episode, I was like, I'm in love with Richie.
Yeah, those big blue eyes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And then the episode after that, he's showing up at the Bear, and he's like, I wear suits now. That's his thing. And I was like, yeah, you do. Like,
You're a suit man.
I fucking love that for him, that he's just like, and he says like, I like the way they make me feel when I wear them. And like, I'm just like, yes, Richie, get it. I love him.
But there's a lot of talks, a lot of think pieces and talks out there about people saying it should have been released weekly. Like, yes and no. I mean, I'm greedy. I like things to gobble them up, but I totally would have been okay if it was weekly. Yes. I mean, I would be talking about it incessantly, desperately waiting to have it drop. But I'm just glad it exists, and I hope people realize like this is why we need writers. Like, this is why.
This ChatGPT can't write the Bear. Mm-hmm. They can't. It won't. Like, if you want good stories, you need humans. And you need to fucking pay for it. You need to pay for it. That's it. But this season's been the season is like fucking chef's kiss. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I just love it. I need to rewatch it. I'm gonna rewatch it. Maybe I'll just rewatch the Richie episode over. No, I'll start from the beginning.
But I was like, when it came out last year, I was like going back and rewatching episodes, putting on as I'm falling asleep, like just having it on in the background.
Yeah.
It makes me want to go to Chicago again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we know some people we can visit while we're there.
That's true.
But it's just, I love all these different stories they're telling too. You know, there's Tina, who is now working as a sous chef for Sydney. You know, she's a little older. They send her to culinary school. We get the gentleman whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. They send him to Copenhagen to like learn like about desserts, and like everybody gets their moment on the show. We get all the stuff with Sugar and the stuff with her husband, and then Jamie Lee Curtis like not actually coming into the restaurant. All of that, like that was stressing me out.
Yeah, there's times that last episode took me a couple of tries to get through.
Yeah,
because it was reminding me of the first season, which like I said, and I watched the season over and over. But the first time you start watching it, it is so stressful. If you've ever worked in any kind of customer service job at all,
yes,
you can relate to it, because there's one of those, you can't just scream and leave. Like you have to deal.
I started yelling at the TV during the last episode when Dee Dee, that's the Jamie Lee Curtis character, it was like, just tell me it's okay and I'll leave. And like I yelled at the TV, just tell her it's okay. Like,
I was the same way.
I was like, just tell her.
Desperate for that. Yes.
So it's so fucking good. It's so good. I'm glad you encouraged me to finish it before we recorded so that we could talk about it.
Yeah, I just needed to talk about Sydney and Carmi, but also Richie.
Ooh. Just fanning myself here. But there are some really interesting conversations going on about Carmi and Claire and Carmi and Sid, and I'm interested in watching those conversations play out on social media. And some of them are shitty, like people are just being shitty, but there are like really thoughtful think pieces about like the people you think are right for you, the people who are actually right for you.
Exactly.
And also like your own biases when you're watching a show like this. Like, did you automatically put Sydney in a different role in your head because she's Black? And I think there are interesting things to talk about there. So I'm glad people are having those conversations. I think they're in love.
I know they love each other.
Yes.
But is it something well, I guess we'll find out in season 3.
Yes. But you know what really hit it for me was he's having a panic attack and he's thinking about all these like stressful things. He's replaying all the stressful shit, and Claire is part of it. She's part of that stress, and he doesn't calm down until he starts thinking of Sydney.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's because you're in love, dude. And then they had the thing under the table. Like, okay, that's enough of that. I'll stop now. My friend, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter as long as it exists. Like, supposedly,
oh my God,
that's been fucked up today. All right.
I saw,
today,
I saw something.
This, yeah. He's like retoning things because you can only look at so many posts a day now, and because he's Jesus Christ, Elon, fucking asshole. Anyway, Brooklyn Margot there, if it's working. I'm at Brooklyn Fitchick on Instagram. That's my site. And then also on the TikTok, I'm at Margot Donahue, and I post some clips of Close Encounters there and other stuff that I'm interested in.
Yeah, you did. If you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present. And then we end every episode with someone who's not a creep. Our episode that just came out is about Russell Simmons. Fuck that guy. And we end it with some really great hip hop and nonprofits. So please check that out. As long as Twitter still exists, you can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter. if y'all have blue sky invitations, maybe you could send them Margot and I's way. We'll gladly sign up for Blue Sky and check it out.
Yes.
Send them our way. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Instagram and the TikTok, where I also post clips of things I'm watching and usually my rando reactions to said clips. You can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com. You could email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. And if you give us your address, we'll send you some stickers. We take requests. So if you have a movie that you're just itching for us to like talk about, send it our way. We will do that. This was really, really fun. I am so glad that we talked about a big summer movie that wasn't a big summer movie.